Today is January 9, 2024. Our reflection is entitled Persistent Prayer and Divine Authority. First reading. 1 Samuel chapter 1, verses 9 to 20. Hannah rose after a meal at Shiloh, and presented herself before the Lord. At the time, Eli the priest was sitting on a chair near the doorpost of the Lord's temple. In her bitterness she prayed to the Lord, weeping copiously, and she made a vow, promising, O Lord of hosts, if you look with pity on the misery of your handmaid, if you remember me and do not forget me, if you give your handmaid a male child, I will give him to the Lord for as long as he lives. Neither wine nor liquor shall he drink, and no razor shall ever touch his head. As she remained long at prayer before the Lord, Eli watched her mouth, for Hannah was praying silently. Though her lips were moving, her voice could not be heard. Eli, thinking her drunk, said to her, How long will you make a drunken show of yourself? Sober up from your wine. It isn't that, my lord, Hannah answered. I am an unhappy woman. I have had neither wine nor liquor. I was only pouring out my troubles to the Lord. Do not think your handmaid a ne'er-do-well. My prayer has been prompted by my deep sorrow and misery. Eli said, Go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant you what you have asked of him. She replied, Think kindly of your maidservant, and left. She went to her quarters, ate and drank with her husband, and no longer appeared downcast. Early the next morning they worshipped before the Lord, and then returned to their home in Ramah. When Elkanah had relations with his wife Hannah, the Lord remembered her. She conceived, and at the end of her term bore a son whom she called Samuel, since she had asked the Lord for him. Gospel. Mark chapter 1, verses 21 to 28. Jesus came to Capernaum with his followers, and on the Sabbath he entered the synagogue and taught. The people were astonished at his teaching, for he taught them as one having authority and not as the scribes. In their synagogue was a man with an unclean spirit. He cried out, What have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God. Jesus rebuked him and said, Quiet. Come out of him. The unclean spirit convulsed him and with a loud cry came out of him. All were amazed and asked one another, What is this? A new teaching with authority. He commands even the unclean spirits and they obey him. His fame spread everywhere throughout the whole region of Galilee. The reading from the first book of Samuel takes us into the heartfelt plea of Hannah, a woman who yearns for a child. In the depths of her anguish, she pours out her soul in prayer at the temple, and her petition is met with divine favor. This narrative sets the stage for a reflection on the transformative power of persistent prayer and the recognition of God's response to our deepest longings. In the Gospel of Mark, we witness the authority of Jesus demonstrated through his teaching in the synagogue and the subsequent encounter with a man possessed by an unclean spirit. The people are astonished at the power and authority with which Jesus speaks, recognizing a force that goes beyond human understanding. Jesus commands the unclean spirit, and it obeys, further confirming his divine authority. The connection between these readings lies in the themes of prayer and authority. Hannah's persistent prayer is met with the granting of her request, highlighting the importance of persevering in our communication with God. In Mark's Gospel, Jesus exhibits divine authority, showcasing the transformative and liberating power inherent in a relationship with him. Today, I will incorporate persistent prayer into my daily routine, recognizing that God hears and responds to the desires of my heart. I will take inspiration from Hannah's example, bringing my hopes and concerns before the Lord with unwavering faith. Additionally, I will reflect on the authority of Jesus in my life, acknowledging his transformative power and seeking to align my actions with his teachings. If you found this video meaningful, I invite you to show your support by hitting the like, subscribe and share button, as this will help us reach more people with these reflections. Together, we can create a community that seeks wisdom and spiritual growth.